Welcome back. This is Dave Wood, of course, in the mountains in Costa Rica. Wanted to say hello and just congratulations for making it this far. This is actually video number 5 of a series of, who knows how long this is going to go on, because, of course, after I finish my series, you get to hear from Dave Sharp on some copyright and leadership secrets and things like that. And so today, we're going to cover something that's incredibly important and not really understood that well. And I'm going to switch my markers around here a little bit, see if I can get a black one going on. And what we're going to cover today is actually offline strategies. We've talked a lot about online marketing. We've talked a lot about email and direct response. We've talked about videos. But today, we're going to talk about how do you use offline strategies to help you build your online business. Now, a lot of people are going to get scared because they're going to say, oh, God, does he mean I'm going to do home meetings and run around Walmart? Is that what he means by offline? And of course, no. It's not what I mean. Let me explain actually real quick. If you look at the different modalities of receiving information, what have I taught you to do online over here, right? It's actually very, very simple concepts that I've taught you how to do online. I've taught you and walked you through how to get what I call mass exposure online. See, most people, this is where they struggle. If you think about the industry of network marketing, if you think about direct sales, think about what most people do. What most people do is they run around talking to people one-on-one. They sit down with people in coffee shops. They invite their friends over for meetings. And in an entire month, a person, usually offline, right, what do? They meet with 3-4 people, right, in a month. In a whole month, that's what they do. Now, most people, they do this month in, month out, month in, month out. They feel like they're working hard, but the reality is most of their time is spent driving around. Most of their time is spent going to trainings. And they never actually really do anything. Now, I want you to think about something for a second. In my business, my website outside of Empower Network gets between 3,500 and 5,500 visitors per day. Now, most of those visitors are repeat visitors. They come back and back and back and back. Here at Empower Network, we actually get closer to 500,000 unique visitors a day, right? A day, daily. Now, I want you to think about something for a second. Is there any way that this 3 to 4 people could compete with the 500,000 people? Well, no. So if this takes 3 to 4 people a month getting to presentations, that's most people's experience of network marketing. I mean, not all of you are in network marketing, all of you are in direct sales or internet sales or something like that. How could you possibly get the same results that you could get with 500,000 people a day seeing a website? The answer is it's impossible to get the same results. All right? So we're talking online, social media, Twitter, Facebook, all this stuff. What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about mass exposure, leverage time. One presentation that sees 500,000 people, or 500,000 people that see one presentation, right? Well, what do you think we're going to do offline? Do you think I'm going to have you running around in Walmart? Do you think I'm going to have you personally prospecting people? Do you think I'm going to? No. What I want to do is I want to teach you leverage strategies. Okay, but here's what I want you to understand. There's different personalities that you're going to be marketing to. If you're doing this for longer than 2 seconds, and hopefully you're going to be here in Empower Network for a long time, hopefully I'll help you make millions of dollars. That's my goal. Now, might not happen. You might not even make thousands of dollars. You might just get in and quit. I don't even know if you're going to take these concepts to heart or not, or if you're just going to get in and then do it your way like you want to do anyways. I have no clue what you're going to do. But the reality is I want to help you make millions of dollars. All right, that's my goal, because I know if I do that, you'll stick around. We'll have great testimonials. We'll plaster your face all over the internet and everything. I want to help you to get the results that you want. Now, let me point something out here real quick. So we've talked about online. Now we're going to talk about offline, and here's why we're going to talk about it. Because people have different modalities of receiving information, right? They have different personalities in buying, right? What do I mean by that? Well, not everybody buys things in the exact same way. Some people like to go to a store to buy things. Some people like to buy things out of catalogs. Some people like to buy things through phone calls. Some people like to buy things through things they read in the mail. Some people just like to buy things in their own way. And here's the reality, is if you're reaching out to people and you're only reaching out in one modality to one personality, and there's maybe 100 modalities to market, guess who you're missing out on selling to? 99% of your customers. So here's the concept that I want to get to you. Online, what are the modalities of selling? Well, it's real simple. Online modalities of selling, right? You've got email, you've got video, you've got articles, you've got sales letters, SL, right? Blog posts, things like that. Basically just content and information. This is how you sell stuff online. You can email people. We've taught you how to do that. You can write sales videos. We've taught you how to do that. You can expose people through social media. We've taught you how to do that. And some people will only buy something that their friends recommend. And some people will only buy something from a sales video. Some people will only buy something from a training series like this because they'll see the training series and they'll say, okay, now I know how to do it. And then they'll say, I want to buy this stuff, right? So that's online. Now offline, what do you got? Well, you've got direct mail. What's that? Sending people stuff in the mail, right? You've got the phone and lots of different modalities on the phone. You've got in person, right? Now I may have missed something here, but I don't think so. Let me show you the different modalities of each section, and then I'm going to break it down. I'm going to show you how I've actually, folks, I've used this to make a lot of money, not like you think, in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different markets, with a lot of different products and services. It always works. Let me show you how. All right, so direct mail, what are the different kinds of direct mail that you can get? Well, most people think of getting like a magazine in the mail, right? Or they think about getting a letter from a friend. But there's a lot of ways to sell through direct mail. Here are a few of them. You can use postcards, right? I've sold a lot of stuff through postcards. I've done hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales through postcards, right? I'll tell you who I mail postcards to when we get into that in a minute, right? You've got sales letters, just like online, right? What's a sales letter? It's a letter that feels like it's a personal letter but sells you something, right? I'll explain how that works, and Dave will explain how that works a little bit later on. You've got sales letters, and you've got newsletters and things like that, just like email newsletters, right? Now, most people would be afraid of the cost of sending out a newsletter because it's not free. See, on the internet, everybody will send out emails. Why? Because email is basically free. It's so cheap, it's almost free. Here at Empower Network, you could email your whole, membership base and things like that for free. It's included in the membership, right? So most people will send email and not do any of this stuff because this is free and this isn't free, right? But it's a mistake, and I'm going to show you why it's a mistake, right? Newsletters, that's basically it for direct mail. And you could do full-page magazine ads and things like that. But honestly, I'm not really into that stuff, right? Now, what do you got on the phone? Well, most people, what do you think of the phone? You're like, oh, God, I got a prospect, right? Do you realize that hearing a voice sells the same percentages as actually talking to somebody? Most people think it's the personal conversation that makes the sale. Most of the time, that's not true. People just want to hear a voice. And that is statistically true. If I send a voicemail to 100 people, I'll get the same sales result as if I talk to 100 people. So if I know that, why would I ever talk to anybody personally until they've already been pre-screened by a voicemail or something, right? So phone, what do we got? Well, there's a few different modalities you've got for not just the phone, but mass exposure on the phone. And then I'll talk about how to use the phone on a personal level, too. You've got voice broadcasting, right? That's one way. You've got telemarketing. Don't get dreaded so far. And then you've got personal coaching where you're on the phone. I would not recommend that you prospect ever unless you're coaching people that have already bought something. That's just my personal opinion. Folks, there's a lot of people here with different opinions. So if you like prospecting, you can prospect and I'll get mass exposure, okay? And then you've got in person. Now this is where the dreaded meetings go. But again, what's our goal? Is our goal to sit down with people at coffee shops? Well, not really. Right? Not unless you're meeting with a leader who's already making a difference. I would not spend my time like that ever, right? What are some different things you could do in person? You could do meetup groups, right? I have people doing this very, very, very successfully, all right? You could do meetings. Now, I'm not going to recommend the normal style of meetings. Why? Because they don't work the same way they used to work. It used to be that it was very easy to get people to local opportunity presentations. And my opinion is today, opportunity presents, they just don't work very well in North America. Other places of the world, they work a lot better than they do in North America. Why? Because people have been to 1,000 of them, right? But what is it very easy to do? It's very easy to do trainings. Now, here's the key with trainings. Did you know that people will spend money to go to a training? Did you know that some of the stuff that you've learned over the last 4 days, you could charge $50 for a meeting and get 20, 30 people there. And you could charge $50, they'll show up, and you can teach them this stuff. And did you know people will pay you good money for that? You could even offer a refund policy at the door if you're nervous about charging the money. People will show up and write you a check for $50 at least. And I'll reckon you could take some of this information that I've taught you for free and go do local meetings, put a little ad out, and you could literally charge $200 and do a seminar for 4 or 5 hours on a Saturday, and literally you could make $3,000 or $4,000 in a meeting. Now here's the key. If you do a training, you actually charge people for the training, did you know that it's much easier to sell at the training? In other words, if somebody comes in and they pay you 20 or 30 bucks at the door, and you make $500 or $600 or $1,000 in a meeting, did you know that it's much easier to then sell an additional $5,000 or $10,000 of products at that meeting? Most people would never think about something like that because they're so concerned with doing everything for free, right? Folks, this is a much better modality of doing meetings. So you got meetup groups, you got meetings and trainings, you got big events. I'll talk about how to use big events a little bit later, probably not in this training, right? There's a lot of money in doing big events. And then what do you got? You got coaching, right, where you're meeting with somebody one-on-one. Once again, folks, I would never today, in 2012 or 13 or 14, whatever you're seeing this, I would never, ever sit down with somebody personally and show a presentation to them. There's not a bigger waste of an hour and a half, or half an hour, or however long it takes of your life that you could ever waste by doing something like that. Why? Because why would you spend an hour doing that if you could spend the same hour recording a video and get that video seen by 1,000 people and do an effective presentation that you tweak and change and make the best, right? And make it so it works statistically, and then get thousands of people. Why would you ever sit down with somebody one-on-one and try to convince them to do something? They might not even be interested, right? But coaching can be valuable. Why? Because people can pay you top dollar for coaching, and you can tell them to buy stuff, right? That you make additional commissions on. It's how doctors make money, more so than most network marketers. Okay, so these are the modalities of offline marketing. Now I'm going to teach you how to use a few of them because obviously in a free video it doesn't really make sense to teach you all this stuff. We go into a lot more detail on these strategies in the 15K per month formula. We go into a lot of detail on these strategies, a lot of detail in the Costa Rica Mastermind Intensive Retreat, and we're constantly talking about them. We're constantly talking about them in the inner circle. Now, I'm gonna show you guys how to use the Empower Network system to work into offline modalities, and I'm gonna show you how to get additional exposure and traffic, right, by doing these things. Now, I don't do all the kinds of meetup groups here. This is some stuff that I don't do. So I'm only going to talk about the things that I do, but I'll talk about some things that you can do that other people in my team do, that other people do in local areas. Because look at this, I live in Costa Rica. There ain't no Chamber of Commerce in town. You know what I mean? I'm going to the beach. Well, most people are doing that kind of stuff. So in any case, let me go through it just a little bit. I'm going to erase this whiteboard and start talking through and showing you some stuff. Here's what I want to point out, though, before I get into this section of the board, I start drawing this stuff out. Some people will not buy on the phone, but will buy through a postcard, sales letter, or newsletter. Some people will not buy through one of these, but they'll buy if they're connected to on the phone. Some people will not buy anything offline, they only want to buy online. And some people will only buy if they go to a live meeting. So what's the best strategy? To do as many as possible in as little time possible. Start with one at a time. Do what is going to work in your area or with your contacts or with your business that you've got now. And then as you get more money, and as your resources expand, and as your knowledge expand, you add them, and they don't take any more time, because when you got money, most of this stuff you just pay for, and it pays for itself every time. All right, so let me explain some strategies here real quick. And I'm going to actually start with what I do with the phone. All right, because a lot of people, there's this myth that I'm this like legendary prospecting machine because I've recruited so many people. The reality is, last year in my network marketing company, right, this is outside of Empower Network, but last year in that company I recruited like 600 people, right? Guess how many prospecting calls I did? I returned about 100 phone calls. So for me, right, 100 phone calls yielded 600 signups, right? So it looks like I have a 600% prospecting ratio, which is a pretty good ratio, you got to admit, right? But the reality is that this is impossible. I can't sponsor 6 people for every person I talk to. So how did I do that? How did I do that? Well, I did it because 500 of those people signed up without talking to me. I didn't call them. That didn't mean they didn't hear my voice. It just means that I didn't call them. And these 100 people that I returned the calls to, I returned their call because they called me. I'm not making prospecting calls. Did you know that the same thing that the guru says will work with everyone doesn't work with somebody who's not interested, but when you're talking to somebody who's interested that already wants to buy, it's like you're cutting through warm butter with a hot knife, right? That's the way that I prospect. So when I'm on the phone, I've actually recorded some of my conversations. I remember one time I was in a company, right? And I was returning calls based on appointments, right? One after the other. And I kept people on the phone as I was going through phone calls. I recruited person on call number 1. It was a $200 buy-in. This is for a personal development company I was in about a year and a half ago, right? I recruited person number 1. I said, I want to teach you what to do. I kept him on the phone. I called person number 2. Person number 2 signed up. I said, hey, Billy, this is Frank. I want to teach you both what to do. I called person number 3. Person number 3 signed up. 4 in a row signed up, and this is about an hour and a half. And these 3 people that had heard it even once were on the phone, and you said, you have got to be shitting my pants. I can't believe that you just did that right in front of me. And I said, here's the key. I'm not prospecting out of a phone book. These are people that had bought something already, that had set up an appointment to talk to me, that really wanted an ounce of my time, who'd gone through the trouble to go online, schedule an appointment, and then all I did was show up for the appointment and ask them for money. Did you know that that is a lot easier than cold calling stupid home business leads? Now, here at Empower Network, our goal is to help you learn to attract people to you. Now, we're not going to have you pretend to be a guru to do that. See, a lot of people in this niche especially, they say, oh, the key is attraction marketing. You got to brand yourself. You got to design your websites. You got to go on Facebook and get these crazy things. And all these people look really pretty and don't have any money. The real key is not branding. The real key is exposure to a message that sells. Do you know that, right? And then exposing your customers to a community that keeps them buying. Did you know that? That's all that it is. You could pretend that it's about branding. You could pretend it's about attraction marketing. Who gives a crap? You're here for freedom, money, all that stuff. That makes sense to you? So that's about exposure to good sales message. So why would you bother creating your own sales message if your sales message stinks and somebody else's sales message will convert your customers 10% and then upsell them at 50%? Why in the world would you sell your own thing that converts at 1%? Does that make sense to you? So what we teach people how to do here is how to expose people to a message that converts at very high levels, how to create more and more and more and more exposure, and then how to keep the community around through leadership, edification, training, team building. That's what these videos are all about. You're probably already in Empower. You've probably already spending $25 in a month, and of course, if you're not, you could click the button below this video. You could buy at any time you choose, but the reality is, you're probably already in. So this is more about community, team building, education than it is about selling. You already want to buy this stuff. I already know that, right? So you go here, 500, you say 600% ratios. Dave, I would fall over dead to do that. Well, I'll teach you how, because let me explain. So what's the formula again? You get traffic, you capture the traffic, you send them to a presentation, and then what do? You sell them stuff. That's where you make your money. And then what do? You take these customers, you sell them more stuff. Here's what you can do at Empower Network, and this is what I do. What I do, my most precious database, personally, is my customer database. Not all these customers are from my own products. Some of these customers are from other product lines. I've been involved in other systems where I get my customer data. I will not sell a product ever. This is my personal philosophy. I will never sell a product where I don't get access to the database. Why? Because that's my customer. If I make a sale, even if it's somebody else's product, it's my customer. I got that person the sale, or I got the sale with that person's product. So here at Empower Network, we give you the database, name, phone number, address, all of it. Why? Because I want you to be able to market to your customers. If you're here at Empower Network, you get the leads, right? You get the database, you get the customers, you get the phone numbers. Why? Because I want you to get the most value out of your customers. It's my philosophy here. See, some people, they'd be scared to do that because they're like, I don't want these people running off and selling them other stuff. I want you to sell your customers stuff. I want you to be successful in your own businesses. I want you to upsell another company. So we give you the database. Now, why do we do that? So you can market to them through other marketing modalities. Now, here's what I'm encouraging you to do, right? This is what I do. What I do this a lot, is I do a lot of phone broadcasting. Now, I want to warn you with voice broadcasting. Voice broadcasting, essentially, when you send a message out to your subscriber base, right, and it's your voice. And I do it in a very particular way, but I want to warn you, you want to study the laws with voice broadcasting. I actually didn't do any voice broadcasting until I'd studied the laws behind it for about a month to make sure that I wasn't doing anything illegal, all right? What I do with voice broadcasting, and you may have actually gotten some of my messages if you remember here, right? I send messages out to my personal teams and customers, right? Because they give me their phone number, they buy something, I'm allowed to send messages to them for about a year and a half. You can check the laws, talk to a lawyer to find out the laws. There is a lot of laws surrounding voice broadcasting. But what I do is I take the phone numbers and I send a message out to them once a week. Why? Because it's impossible for me to communicate with 15, 20,000 people a week. But I can send a single message that motivates, that inspires, and it's almost like a personal conversation. I could send that to 15,000 people. And then I could focus my personal coaching time, right, my personal phone time, to the leaders that are making a difference. If you're ever a leader here at Empower Network and you're making a big splash, and it's got to be big because we got so many people doing well here, you will get some of my time because I'm dedicated to that. But just for a message, do you think I'm going to call 15,000 people? Do you think it's possible to even do? Or 20,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 people or how many people we got in this network by the time you're in it, right? I can't do that, but I can send a message out, can reach everybody, right? So what I do is every week I get something out to my database. Every week I get a phone number out to my database. Every week I do it. Now, here's the key. Most people don't do that, or they do it wrong. See, what most people do is rather than marketing to their customers, they market to cold leads. First of all, that could be illegal, right? Because if you're sending voicemails to somebody's home and they're not on a customer list, they didn't request information, you don't have permission to send them the voicemail, right? You can get fines for that. You got to be very careful with what you do with your name and your brand. But however, if somebody's a customer, all of these people want these messages. This is the key. People call me, they say, Dave, that message was so inspiring. Thanks for keeping me in the loop. People get pumped from those messages. I get to keep 15, 20,000 people in the loop at the same time. But here's the key. Communication with customers equals goodwill, equals repeat customers, and guess who your strongest buyers are? Whenever you join a new business, whenever you buy make a new product, whenever you create new information, guess who's going to buy more of that info than anybody else? It's not your leads. Your leads might just be sitting there and they might just be reading your emails to see if they could compete with you, right? Your customers who have spent money with you will spend 10, 20, 30, 40 times more money with you than any lead will ever spend because they're already a customer. You already know they have a credit card. They already know you, like you, and trust you, right? So guess what I do? I do what's called, this is an advanced strategy. I'm going to give it to you for free. Now, I've used this strategy to make over $100,000 last year, personally, all right? So if I've used it, you think it's valuable. Well, it's 100% valuable. You can do it here in Empower Network with your database. Now, this strategy, right, I do with customers only. Now, this is what I do. It's called a press one. Let me get a different marker here. Put the lid on this one. Fix that. It's called a press one transfer strategy. Now, I'm not going to give you all the resources here. Press one transfer strategy, right? But I'm going to tell you how to do it, all right? And you could go do your own research if you want to do it. There's going to be a manual here that'll go over some of the information on how to do it. But I do it with customers only because it is a little pricey to do. And here's the key. I always make more money than I spend by doing this strategy. When it's done right, it always works. Here at Empower Network, we actually give you Press One Transfer Strategy voice broadcast you can use with your own individual customers, with your own teams and things like this to help you to get the results you want, because that's our goal, to help you make money here. So if you're an Empower Network member, at least at the $25 membership, right, you'll have access to that stuff as it comes out. So I would just be on that membership, if nothing else, just to see what we're doing for marketing. It really is a valuable product. But here's the reality. Press One Transfer Strategy. How does it work? Well, first of all, you've got a customer list. Again, you can do this with cold leads if you want, but just be sure to research the laws and that you're doing it right. Because there's certain things you can and can't do. You got to understand that. We want to make sure everything we're doing is legal, right? So I make sure to understand with how I do it, right? So I do this, first of all, to a customer list. There's a buyer's list that have bought something from me. Because I want people who buy from me to hear from me again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Because when you launch a new product, all those people who trust you, who know you, who like you, because you delivered on your product, they're all going to come back and they're going to want to get involved with whatever you're doing. If you've helped them, you helped them make more money, you've helped them have a better life, you've helped their life be easier, you've given them some information nobody else has, you've helped them. Folks, they'll come back, they'll buy from you. I have people who've been buying from me now for almost 3 years because I've treated people well. All right? But here's the reality. You get a list. It's got to have phone numbers only. You don't need everybody's names in the list. All right? You're going to have to study on your own, and we'll have a little manual that has a little bit more information on how to do this. Maybe your sponsor has a voice broadcasting tool they like. Later, we'll probably have voice broadcasting here at the Empower Network. Right now, as of making this video, we don't. So if it changes, we'll let you know in the manual. All right, but here's the reality. You upload the list, and you've got to record 3 messages. Okay? Now, here are the messages. You're going to record one message that's going to be 15 to 45 minutes. You say 15 to 45 minutes, what do I talk about? Well, I'll tell you in a minute. You got to record 2 messages that are 30 to 60 seconds. okay? And the two messages here are a live voicemail and a message to leave on somebody's machine. This is going to be a training. You're going to need two tools here. You're going to need a voice broadcasting machine, okay, which you can get online. There's thousands of them. There's ones that are free to set up. There's ones where you got to pay a little admin fee. All right, sometimes some are $200 or $300 to set up. Your sponsor, the Power Network, I'd ask them for a recommendation. They might have something that they prefer to use. All right, you have voice broadcast, and then you need a hotline number to leave this 15 to 45-minute message on, a hotline. Okay. Now here's the key. This message, this 15 to 45-minute message, changes every week. You don't send the same thing out to the same people. It changes frequently, and it's always more value than selling. Always more value than selling, right? Here's what I do, and I'll tell you why this works, and if you're in the Empower Network, you'll get these. I'm telling you something. You need to stay plugged into them and listen to them every week, because what I do is I record a training, because I'm a good talker, right? I learned to talk well. I'm good talking. So what I'll do, right, is I'll record a training that I teach people. I keep them updated. I let them know about new developments. I let them know what's working out there in the marketplace. I give them an inspirational story. I give them an inspirational message, right? I give them some hope. I tell them a story about somebody who started making some money in Empower Network. Now they're making more money than they ever made in their life, right? I pump them up. I jazz them a little bit. I tell them I appreciate them. I don't do it too often, because if you do it too often, people get burnt out. They start hating your guts. Right? So I record that in a training call, and I take my time and I tell them what's going on. Now, I've done interviews, I've done live messages, I've recorded webinars and put those on the audio messages. It doesn't matter what you do. Now, here's the key, and there's a lot of little parts to this. So this strategy, again, it's going to be outlined in the manual. You might need to watch it 2 or 3 times, but I'm explaining it 2 or 3 times. I'm going to break it down how it works, why it works, and how to make money doing it. All right, so here's the key. You upload this to a hotline number. I've only found one hotline that works well for this. There's no affiliate program on it, so I'm just going to tell you what it is. It's a company called SimpleVoiceCenter.com. So if you go to SimpleVoiceCenter.com, we'll put it in the manual. I don't even know if they have an affiliate program, so just go there. You can buy a voicemail line. It's like $8 a month. You can put unlimited messages on there, unlimited length of time. I've used it. I've made $100,000 with that $8 a month thing. It really is a good product, right? But you get a voice message, all right? And then you need something to record the audios with. I use a free program called Audacity, right? Audacity. Now, Audacity you can get for free. If you've got a Mac, you just talk into it. You got a PC, you can just talk into it as long as you got a little microphone there. You can get a cheap $100 microphone if you want good sound. You can also call into your hotline. You can record it on the phone. You don't have to do this on your computer and learn how to transfer files and stuff. Again, you're going to have to research. There'll be some in the manual to teach you how to do this a little better. All right? And then what you do is you upload this message, the training message, the value message to the hotline, right? And here's how I do the messages. What I do is every week I put something out where I say, my videographer just heard me record one. He'd tell you, right? I put one out and say, hey, folks, this is Dave Wood talking to you from Costa Rica. I wanted to give you some inspiration, give you some hope, give you some training, give you some thoughts and ideas and some strategies that you can use this week to put more money in your bank account. Now, I want you to pay attention. There's a couple things that are really important to listen to on this call. First of all, this week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you the #1 secret that's allowed me to recruit more than 4,000 people in different business and opportunities around the world. Secondly, I'm going to teach you how to create more good customer faith, more good customer goodwill, and how to get people to buy more stuff. Because, of course, when people buy more stuff, you make more money, right? And then I'm going to take these strategies, break them down into step-by-step implementations, and I'm going to walk you through a process to help you get the results that you want. So you ready? Get out a pen, take a piece of paper out, make some notes, and if you want to, if you look at your caller ID, the phone number for this message is 951-262-3538.com. You can call back into it, re-listen to it anytime you choose. Right? That's how I usually start my messages, something like that. See, don't you want to listen to that? See, it's value. I'm not selling there. Right? I'll tell you how I make money with the strategy here in a second. Now, here's what I do for the live voicemail. Here's what I do for the message. All right? Here's what I do for the message. Live voicemail, here's what I do. Because this is the strategy. You have to send a short message out, and when your customer picks up the phone and they listen to your message, you want them to hit a number to transfer into the live message. So what I do, and there's a couple steps here. Number one, you've got to have an opt-out on the voicemail or it's illegal, right? So when you send a message out, you say, hey, this is Dave Wood coming at Empower Network members with a click update. If you don't want to receive these updates, go ahead and hit the 8 button now. But I want you to keep listening, right? because I've got something that's going to teach you how to make more money, have more free time, and just live a better, happier life. And go ahead and hit the 1 button now to listen to that message. See what I did? I gave them a chance to opt out of the messages, but I inspired them to hit 1 and listen into the messages, because most people actually like getting the messages. I get less than a 1% opt-out rate because my messages are valuable. Does that make sense to you? Okay, so that's how I do voice broadcasting. You can't really do it all over the world. I usually only voice broadcast to North America because there's laws that are different in different countries and things, and you can check the local laws wherever you live in the world. But that's what I do. So I send a message, and once again, what's it like? I say, hey folks, this is Dave Wood with Empower Network. Just wanted to give you a quick update from the company here. You can hit 8 to opt out of these updates, but I'd encourage you to listen in, because today I'm actually going to show you how to make more money. I'm going to talk about a promotion that we're doing. I'm going to talk to you about a step-by-step plan, how to put $1,000 in your pocket this week. Hit 1 to listen into the message. You can also look at your caller ID, dial the number on there. It's 951-262-3538. Hit the 1 button now, and I'll see you on the beaches of the world. Hit 1. Right? Something like that. Because then somebody's going to hit 1, and the voice broadcasting, all the services do this. It's called a live transfer, and they'll transfer people into your voice box. That makes sense to you? Right? So I use Simple Voice Center for the voice box. I send a broadcast out, people hit 1, they transfer in. There's another part of the formula, and this is a little bit weird. All right? It's just a little bit weird. The other part of the formula is, and this is key, all right, is you want to get a website address that matches up with your phone number. Now this is really easy because nobody reserves these, all right? So if you get, for example, simplevoicecenter.com, right, if you get that company, all right, then they're going to give you a company that's like 951 something, right? So what you do, my Simple Voice Center, you can call in, you can listen to my last message if you choose. It's 951-262-3538. And I have 951-262-3538.com. Now what I do is I redirect this to an offer every week. Right? That's what I do. So what I do when I send out a message is I say, I'm going to teach you how to do this stuff, hit 1, and then they dial in the message. They say, hey folks, this is Dave Wood. If you're listening to this message, it's either because you hit 1 or you dialed back the number that was on your voicemail, and you're calling in to get the update from Empower Network members in my personal team. Now, first thing I want to tell you is I have a video tutorial that goes along with this audio training, and that video tutorial, you can find it at thisphonenumber.com. In other words, 951-262-3538.com. Right? Go to that website. It's going to redirect to that video training that I promised you. All right? Now, that's the same number every week. It's the same message every week. And here's the thing that people start doing. They start actually looking for the phone calls because they feel warm and fuzzy, like I'm keeping them in touch, like I'm communicating with them. It's not just a sales message. All right? So, for example, this week, now, it's not going to be the same when you go to it. This week, we're doing a merchant transition in Empower Network. So I'm making this video. It's January 22nd, 2012, right? We moved about 5,700 merchants. So I have a really important message for the Empower Network members, and it won't be the same when you go there because it'll be the latest message, all right? But I have a really important message for Empower Network members where this week I'm telling them how to make sure they have an active subscription and how to make sure they set up that merchant account, right? Does that make sense to you? So when they go to that thing, they get redirected to that site. You say, well, Dave, how do I set up this redirect? How do I get the site? You just go to GoDaddy, you buy a domain name. Once again, folks, this is a paid strategy. I told you I'd teach you some free stuff, and I told you I'd teach you some paid stuff. This is a paid strategy, so this isn't for people who are on a tighter budget. This is for people that got some money to reinvest back into their customers. Because that's what you want to do. You make $10,000, you reinvest 2. You make $20,000, you reinvest 4. Right? And you spend money on marketing, it makes you more, and it gives you better customer goodwill, better faith in the long run, way better exposure. It makes you into a famous person because eventually my voice broadcasting list, folks, is like 45,000 people, right, who are all opt-in phone numbers, right? So you imagine if you had the ability to touch 45,000 people once a week with a message, you think you'd make some money? How could you not? Right? That makes sense to you? And they get a chance to opt out anytime they choose. They don't have to get the messages, but I always encourage them to stay on the messages and re-opt in if they opt out, because if they are on those messages, right, we can help them get better results. And they can listen to the messages driving around in their car. I have people driving home from work, listening to the messages, being inspired, getting pumped up and jazzed, and then guess what? They come back, they check out whatever I'm telling them to do, and there's always some kind of an offer, but it's more value than offer. Does that make sense to you so far? Okay, so you send a message out with a push 1 transfer option. So that's one of the messages. So you say, Dave, what's the other message? Well, the final message that you record to do a voice broadcast is a message that you leave on somebody's machine, right? Because if somebody doesn't pick up live, you don't want to let that money go to waste from sending the broadcast. You want to leave a message on their machine. It'll do that. They're like 3 cents a call usually 2.5, 3 cents a call. Some of them goes low. Mine's about 1.5 cents because I do so much volume today. right? But I send a message out, and this is my answering machine message. I actually make it sound like I just called them, right? Because if they don't pick up, they don't know, right? So I have a lot of people who listen to the messages. They think I called them. They just call back the number, and the number on the caller ID is the 951-262-3538.com. They call back in. I tell them the website, I keep repeating the number, and then they start looking for the calls. And it starts getting bigger. Just like an opt-in list, the influence gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But only do it with value, and you'll get the results you want. All right, so what do I do in the message? Well, I send a message out like this. I say, hey, this is Dave Wood with Empower Network. Wanted to just give you a call, give you a quick update. Look, sorry I missed you. Here's what I want you to do. I actually recorded a message this week that has an inspirational, motivational team update with some strategies that are going to help you make more money, live life better, work less, and just have a better life. Go ahead and dial the number that's on your caller ID. I actually left you this from a message I recorded. So if you just dial back what's on your caller ID, the number is 951-262-3538. And if you go call that 951-262-3538, you can listen to that message. I'm looking forward to helping you succeed. Looking forward to seeing you on the beach of the world. I'll talk to you later. And be blessed, right? Something like that, because people feel like it's not canned. It's not like, hey, I'm calling you about a home business, because I'm not broadcasting people that don't want information from me. I'm only broadcasting people that want to connect with me. Does that make sense to you? At least a little bit. That's what I do to use voice broadcasting as a successful strategy. Now, here's what I want to ask you. Could you do what I just told you once a week? This takes a total of about an hour to set up, right? Now, some people, they'd get stuck on the message, right? Or they'd get stuck because they don't know how to do a domain redirect. But a domain redirect, folks, all you got to do is get a domain through a company like GoDaddy. And then when you go to GoDaddy, you could buy a domain. They're like $8. You can message support, right? And what you can do when you message support, you can say, hey, I need to set up a domain redirect for this domain to this URL. And you can put it to your capture page at Empower Network, right? And what they'll do is they'll set it up for you. You don't have to do anything. And then they'll teach you how to do it so you can do it in the future if you want to change the URL. Right? But some of you get stuck on the message. You know what you could do for these messages, folks? You can copy the stuff we send out because we have Swipe for you. Right? You can do that if you like. We message the entire Empower Network database every week for you. So if you get members here, they're going to be kept in touch with from us. Right? But you know what you could do? You could interview people. You could go seek out a leader each week to put on an audio interview. You could put it on the internet. You could also put it on a site. Isn't that value? Like, what if you got your leader at Empower Network? Let's say they're making $5,000 a month. And you get them on an interview, say, I want to introduce you to Chris Rushlow, who made $5,000 his first month at Empower Network. He's cranking it out. His check's getting bigger all the time. Chris, can you tell us how you did it, right? And what if you just did an interview like that, and then you don't even have to create the message. So you get to learn, you get to stay plugged into your team. Your team sees that you're humble. Don't you think they're going to want to buy more stuff? And then all you got to do is have a little offer for them, right? You could say, hey, folks, I'm just sending this out. This could be your offer. For, to my members, to my loyal customers. And I wanted to reach out and wanted to connect with you to give you the opportunity, right, to make sure that you're part of all the products and services we have here at Empower Network. This week, I want to talk to you about the inner circle and why that's so valuable. But you do it after the message because they'll want your updates. They'll listen to them. They'll stay plugged in. And that's going to grow your residual income. It's going to grow your influence and power. It's going to grow your sponsoring ability. Now, this is one strategy. Remember, there's telemarketing. I haven't even talked about telemarketing. Lawrence Tam uses telemarketing, not himself. He hires a company to call his people, right? He doesn't want to make phone calls because he knows it's a waste of time. Why would I call people if I send a message to 15,000 people who want to hear from me? Now, I know what you're saying. You're saying, yeah, Dave, but I'm not there yet. I don't have 15,000 people. How do I get the 15,000? Well, you might not never have 15,000. But even 100, isn't it more valuable sending a message to 100 team members that you bring in, right, than it is trying to call 100 people every week? Isn't it more valuable to grow that to 1,000? Does that make sense? Folks, that's one strategy. I haven't even talked about postcards yet. So what do I do with postcards? Well, what I do is I collect my customer list. It grows and grows and grows and grows. And what I do is every once in a while, and I'd actually encourage you to do it every month if you got a good offer. Because the more you mail your mailing list, guess what happens? They keep buying stuff. It's amazing, but the more they hear from you, the more audios they hear, the more videos they see, the more mail pieces they get. Did you know that they just buy stuff from you more and more? So let me tell you about a postcard strategy I've used. Now, folks, these two strategies could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. They've been worth hundreds of thousands to me. Now, they might not be worth that much to you, but they could be, and I'm giving it to you for free. So how valuable do you think the Empower Network membership is? How valuable do you think the Inner Circle is? How valuable do you think the 15K per month formula is in the Costa Rica Intensive if I'm giving you this stuff for free, right? This is free that I'm giving this information to you. Imagine what you get when you are part of all of our products and services, folks. It's 10 times over and above this, way more detailed information, and we are here to help you get the results that you want. Right? Isn't that great? All right, so here's the reality. What do I use postcards for? Well, I'm not a very detailed guy, It might seem like it when I'm talking because I talk fast, but I'm a good talker, right? So I don't keep track of stuff very well. My house is messy. Kevin, my video guy, he laughs at me because he comes over and does videos and stuff, and just stuff is all over my house. He's probably thinking, what this messy fucking guy needs to be clean, right? But I'm disorganized, right? So I can't do too detailed direct response stuff, because if I'm trying to do split testing, that's why I'm working with Dave, because Dave is much more detailed at split testing tracking than I am, right? For me, I'm just my energy's just all over the place. So if you're like me and you can't keep track, well, you can make money too. And if you're detailed, you're probably more like Dave a little bit. Dave's a little more detailed than me. But you know what I do is I just send postcards out, right? And this is a strategy that I've used, where I built a membership base, right? Twice I did this, and I just took my membership base. It was about 1,000 people. I sent them all a postcard. And here's what I did. See, most people, they send a postcard out, and they're like, make $5,000 a month, and they've got a big flashy link. And did you know that looks just as stupid as when you wander into Walmart and when you say that to somebody in Walmart? If I went into Walmart today, and I walk up to Bill, who's just a random stranger standing there, and he's wearing a suit and a tie, and I'm wearing a suit and a tie, and I say, you seem like a sharp guy. Keep your options open, right? I'd have to do that 10,000 times to get anybody in, right? You guys realize that that's not a very smart thing to do. Well, if you send a postcard like that to your customers, they're going to look at that thing and say, what a stupid idiot. That's exactly how people respond to that bullshit. Folks, let's just call it like it is, right? Did you know that there's one thing getting a lead? There's another thing keeping a lead. And what's a lead that you keep, folks? A lead that you keep is a lead that keeps opening emails, that keeps looking at your mail, that keeps listening to your voicemails. A lead is not somebody who never talks to you, right? So what do? It's a little different, right? I'll just do something wild. Like I'll jump in my pool and take a picture cannonballing into my pool, and I'll slap it on the front of a postcard, and I'll send it out, and on the front of it I'll say, get money and jump in pools, right? Something like that. Or I jump in my pool, in big red quotes, something like that. And then they open it, and I'll have like a picture of myself in the card, and I'll say, hey, Frank, I just want to reach out and connect with you, tell you I appreciate you for being such a great customer. I appreciate you so much. I made a video just for you. This video will show you step by step. It'll show you the secrets. Look, if you want to buy stuff, yeah, I got stuff to buy too, but I'm just going to give you for free a secret strategy that I've used very recently to pull an extra $10,000 into my bank account. Now, I'm going to give this to you. Here's the link. And what do? I just do a simple link. I send it out, and then he has to go to the site. But here's the key, folks. That keeps people going to my site. It keeps people watching the videos. And you know what? People get that, and they say, this guy's everywhere. I buy something, I get a card, I get voicemails, I get emails, this guy really wants me to succeed. See, most of you would be nervous because you're saying, oh, these people, they don't want to hear from me, right? But folks, these people, they get this stuff, and they say, man, this guy really wants me to succeed. And I do. That's why I do this stuff, because I care about you. Some people, they say, stop sending me mail. And I'm like, okay. Or stop sending me postcards. All right. Why? Because I'm not going to fight you. Right? I'm not going to fight you to be rich. You want to be poor? You're welcome to, right? So I don't want people on my list that don't want to be there. That's why they can unsubscribe from the email. They can unsubscribe from the live voicemails. They can unsubscribe from the postcards, right? And I don't do postcards as much, but I'm going to start doing them more, right? But folks, here's what I did. First time I did this, let me tell you the truth. Now, this website isn't there anymore, so I'm not even going to give you a domain. I'm going to just make up a site, right? Because I don't want people going to my personal stuff. That's not Empower Network related from this site. I want to help you guys succeed. But I got this big old customer base from selling this, article submitter deal. So I had all these addresses. So I got the addresses up in my little postcard thing. I sent them all out a postcard, and I said, I just want to thank you for a purchase of that article submitter product. You're going to get results. Just stay with it. And I believe in you so much. I made you free training on how to sponsor heavy hitters into your business. You want to get some good results? You got to watch this video, and it's yours for free. Now, here's the key. I didn't get those people on my email list, but I sent them a card. Here's the key. 800 people got the card. 755 opted into my website. Now I had 755 leads. I got 755 leads for sending those postcards. But here's the other key. 100 of them joined my business out of those 755. I sponsored 100 people. Now, I wasn't earning 100% commissions. Tell you the truth, you'd earn more if all these people had bought just the basic membership, right? Just the basic membership, you would earn more. Why? Because it's 100% commissions. How much are you going to, if you sell 100, right, there's some pass-ups, so you're going to make about $2,000 from that. A month, though, a month. This one, I sent this out, I might have made a few $1,000 bucks, but once, and then it was lower per month, right? And I did it again 6 months later to a bigger list, and again I sponsored 100 people in a week each time without calling anybody. They called me, I returned some calls, other people just joined. Now, what would you rather do, this or Walmart? Right? I choose that, right? Doesn't it make sense? So there's a million things you can do. Here's the key. When you make money, don't be a fool. Don't be a fool, right? There's a guy I met, and this is what I mean. And I'm not calling you a fool. I'm just saying there are a lot of fools with money, right? There's a guy I met on a cruise just recently. I went on this cruise. This guy was like, 80, and he had the look in his eyes like this just fireball guy. I just actually told this story on my recent voice broadcast. So you're not going to hear it when you go there because it'll be something new, as long as you're seeing this after a week from now, right? But there's this guy. He just had these fiery-looking eyes, man. And I met this guy. I was like, man, this guy, he's wearing these gold gaudy chains, and he has wife. His wife's like 75 too. They've been married like 50 years, high school sweethearts. And he'd been retired since he'd been 35. And I was like, 35? I mean, I'm 30 right now when I'm making this video. I don't even want to retire. I mean, I love what I'm doing. 35. He'd been traveling the world and living off his investments. So I got a chance, and I said, how did you do that? How did you do that? Did you know that if you find somebody who has a result that you want, you can look at it and you could say, how did you do that? And if you do what they did, you can actually model it, as long as you got the natural ability to model it. Or you can model a level of it, you can get their similar results by learning their skills and adapting their behavior. I said, how did you do that? That's what he said. He said, don't be a fool with your money. Live below my means. That's all I ever did is I lived below my means. He said, I made $100,000. I reinvested, I lived off what I needed to, and I reinvested the rest, all of it. I just put it out there and do investments. I didn't fool around. See, what you want to do, you don't want to fool around in your business. If you want to keep making money is one thing, you want to keep making money, guess what you do? You take part of your money, you reinvest it back into marketing. So I'm not telling you to go out of your pocket, buy all these tools, and get all this stuff. Buy the stuff here at Empower Network and start making money by sending the emails, copy, paste, send, blogging daily, doing the stuff. And then when you make a sale, you make that first 25 bucks. You don't need 25 bucks. Take the 25 and reinvest it all back. And then get up to 1,000, then start taking 20%. And then you make 1,000 a month, you take 200, you reinvest it back, you make 1,500. Because you learn how to be a smart marketer. So what I do is I take some of the money, it's a fraction of a percent of the money that I make, and I put it back into things like voice broadcasting, like customer goodwill, like good customer service, like people that I can hire to do things I don't want to do, right? Like getting great video equipment was one of my investments that I took and I put back into my business, right? How did I pay for the video equipment I got? It was about $10,000, $15,000 of stuff I got right here, right? The videos, the audio, these are Sennheiser mics, they're really good stuff. So how did I pay for that? Well, I made $33,000 selling a retreat, right? I took $15,000, $20,000, I bought video equipment. Most people would just be like, I got 30 grand, woohoo! But for me, I bought video equipment, right? I spent another $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 getting the videos recorded and edited, right? Why? Because I want to pay for people to do stuff good, right? So, and then I spent another $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on the retreat, rented out this big old 10,000 square foot home. So you look at that, you say, you didn't make very much money from that retreat, did you? Well, the answer is no. But you know what? I turned that into the Costa Rica Mastermind Intensive Retreat, which now has made me over $100,000. And it'll make me a lot more than that because it's a perpetual product that I can sell, and I make about $1,000 a day from that product now. So now, something I didn't make money from is now turned into a business investment that now makes me about $1,000 a day, but you can make that too by just selling it. Do you see how you invest back in your business? Don't be a fool with your money. Right? That makes sense to you? So that's what I do with my resources. I reinvest it back in because if you're living well, why waste money on Ferraris and Corvettes and all this trash that people get just to make yourself look cool? Who gives a shit? Honestly, buy that stuff when your residual income is so high, after all your business investments and all this stuff, and you're living off interest, you can buy a Ferrari. Go buy a Ferrari. But until then, don't be a fool. Because if you be a fool with your money, you'll have it today and it'll be gone tomorrow. You'll make a lot of money, you'll stop making money. Don't be a fool, right, with your money. And that's the secret of raising your investment. So those are two strategies, that I've just given you. Say, Dave, how do you send postcards? Well, I've used send out cards. I'm not going to promote them because they're another network marketing deal. But they're a good company. It's very easy to use. Maybe somebody is in it. You could buy the product right from there. They're a good postcard system. We might have a postcard system later too. There's other good postcard systems out there. So you just do a little research, right? And you can send a postcard to your customers. It's an easy strategy and doesn't cost a lot of money. I'm not a fan, personally, of doing a lot of other kinds of postcards to people I don't know. It's a great strategy, but for me, I like to get leads cheap and then reinvest a lot back into the leads. I like the cheaper lead and reinvestment back into them. That's my personal strategy. There's a lot of things that work. There's a lot of people here at Empower that actually market directly through postcards to cold customers, and they get customers, and then they reinvest back into those customers. And folks, a customer treated well is a customer for life. And a customer for life is a lot of money if you treat them well. Because in this business, treating them well means helping them get what they want. And if they make more, guess what? They're going to reinvest more of their money back with you. Right? So what are some resources that help you get the results you want? Number one, get the Empower Network viral blogging system. The Empower Network, $25 a month. Now there's a link below this video to purchase it. There's also a link up in the upper right of this blog. You can log in. Now if you're a member, this is in the autoresponder to the new members. It's also in the autoresponder to leads, all right, if you're a member. Now if you click the member login, right, if you're already a member, some people actually register on the join page, but then they don't pay, and they wonder how they can pay. Well, it's really easy. You just click on the member login. If you forgot your password, you click Forgot Password, right? You can get a new password, and then what you can do is you can log in. You can actually click on the login and start blogging. If you don't have the product, it'll take you to a payment screen. You can actually buy it there, all right? So you can buy the product by doing that. I'd encourage you to get the Inner Circle, to plug into the training, to plug into all our resources and products. I'd encourage you especially to really learn the value of these strategies. If you really learn a step-by-step, big concepts, get the Costa Rica Mastermind Intensive Retreat, buy it, $500. Every sale that comes to you on that product, right, you make $500 commission into your merchant account. We're going to help you get a merchant account, help you get set up. If you want to promote our products to get the results that you want, to promote your business, I'm actually going to come back next call. I'm actually going to talk about some other list building strategies, some paid media strategies online. We're going to go back to online, right? I'm also going to come back and teach you some leadership concepts and strategies in the next video. Here's the last thing, and Dave Sharp's going to come in after this. Here's the last thing I'm going to tell you. Some people wonder, why would you want to do offline when online's so cheap to do? Here's the reason why. Let me explain this. I'm going to explain a viral loop to you, okay? That you take traffic from online to create more viral traffic online. It's the most powerful strategy you're ever going to learn, and one of the only places you can actually do it is here, unless you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest into your business, which we've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into the system. We'll invest millions of dollars more over the next few years. All right, but let me actually show you a viral loop that you can use here in Empower Network, and why you want to do things like this. Well, you say, who are some people you can do this with now? If you've got a customer list, mail them. Just invest a little bit. Just mail your customer list. Just send them a little postcard or something, right? If you got a customer database, send them a voice broadcast. Try it. What's the worst that can happen, right? Try it out, see how it works for you, right? See if you get the results that you want from that, right? So those are some things you can try. But even if you don't have a customer list, you know who you can send direct mail to? Family and friends. Look, I'll tell you something. Most people, they're very resistant to doing the old school thing of picking up their phone and calling 100 people. Why? Because it sucks, it doesn't work very well, it takes forever, and it's very nerve-wracking. But you know it's not nerve-wracking? It's not nerve-wracking sending 100 people that came to a wedding a postcard in the mail saying, just want to reach out, say hello. I just started a new business I want you to take a look at. Right? It's not nerve-wracking at all. You just send a postcard, and people will call you, and you talk to them. Right? It's something that you can do as a strategy. Do you have to do it? No, but it's something you can do. Right, as a warm market strategy that works much better than running around calling your family and friends. Also works really well with warm market is text messaging. Text message them rather than call them, because nobody picks up calls today. You make 100 calls, 10 people pick up, extreme waste of your time. So those are some things you can do to use these strategies right now. You got a customer list, try it. And if not, you say, Dave, I don't have any lists, man. I don't have an email list. Oh, people only make money who have lists here. Not true. I started with no list. I started with no money. I started with no blog. I started with no system. And I started by getting a little money, reinvesting it back, and I built my entire list starting from free strategies. So if you do not have anything, you can build a list with Empower Network. We'll give you the database. We'll help you grow that list. Is that fair? I think it's fair. I think it's cool. So that's what we can do. So come back in the next video, right? Buy the Empower Network product. Try it out, right? Work with us for the next 90 days. Make a commitment. Make a decision. 25 bucks gets you the deal. I'd encourage you to buy all the upsells. Buy all the products. Try them out. And if you don't like them, it's not a big deal. There's no risk. You can cancel them at any time. What's risk in 25 bucks? It's a 2, 20, and a 5. I mean, it's no money whatsoever at all, right? You can do that right now. You made a decision now to lock arms with us and fight the forces of evil. And I'm going to see you on the beaches of the world, because I'll tell you something. It's badass knowing this stuff, isn't it? Aren't you just a little bit excited to go out there and just take over the world? I am. See you on the beaches.